Hello everybody. Recently, Subboor Ahmad and the Muslim Lantern produced a video where they laughably claimed that they scientifically and rationally dismantled evolution. There was so much nonsense in this video that I had to do 4 separate videos in response. They then did a live stream inviting people to call in and debate them on evolution. I did so, and this is an analysis of my participation.
Okay, let's bring now maybe a problematic guest, yeah? So someone that maybe you're already familiar with. Okay, let's bring on. Okay, now, Ihsan, let me ask you, how are you? You good?
Yes, good, thanks. Nice to talk to you. I've not spoken to you before.
Yeah, I think so. I have not spoken to you before as well. Okay, let me ask you just a few questions. The first thing is, are you a naturalist?
Methodological naturalist, yes.
Okay. The second thing is, so do you believe that everything scientific has to be explained through natural processes?
Well, everything scientific, yes.
Can only be explained through natural processes.
Yeah, until you can test for the supernatural, you can't include the supernatural in any scientific explanation.
Okay,
so that's what distinguishes me from a philosophical naturalist. So I'm not saying that the supernatural doesn't exist. I'm saying that in terms of science, you can only work with methodological naturalism because you need to be able to have testable theories, and then if you can't do that, and if you can't test reliably for the supernatural, then you can't have that in methodological naturalism.
No, that doesn't follow. Why do you reject the idea of a supernatural thing influencing something natural happening?
Okay, I just explained it. I said because you can't test for it, so it's not within methodological naturalism, and that's what distinguishes me from a philosophical naturalist.
But why test using what?
Using the scientific method. So do you know a way of testing for the supernatural?
So you are just going in a circular reason.
No, okay. It's not. What's happened is you've asked me a question, I've answered it. You didn't quite understand it, so you've asked me the same question again, so I've answered it. So I need to ask you something to see what you understand.
I understand.
Right, just answer this. Answer this then.
By the way, I don't appreciate interruptions. I don't appreciate interruptions. I'll let you know from the beginning of the discussion. I let guests speak. Maybe you've been waiting and you've been listening. We didn't have any issues with anyone, right? So if there's an issue, it'll probably be coming from you, yeah? Because we've been talking with other people and we've been calmly engaging in discussions,
sure,
right?
I'm trying to be calm, but I'm just answering your questions.
Yes. I do understand what you said. Problem is I'm disagreeing with you. Where did you get this criteria from that it has to be testable in order for me to accept that it can influence the naturalistic reality? Okay, maybe something is not under the means of what I can test, therefore I cannot test for it, but it can still rationally and logically influence a naturalistic process. So I do understand what you said, I just disagree with it.
Okay, well, you disagree with it. Well, unless somebody comes up with a reliable way of testing it, then I don't see how it can be part of the
maybe I can facilitate the discussion between you two. So I think you're talking past each other. What Muhammad said, you didn't respond to. What he said is, if there is something, and he didn't challenge your methodological naturalism. He said, if you as a methodological naturalist are sitting there and observing a phenomena, you cannot rule out that there may be something outside of the phenomena that you are observing, something supernatural, that is actually having an impact on the very thing that you are observing. So essentially what he's saying is, in the background, and I think you alluded to this earlier, that I think you said something along the lines of, you're a methodological naturalist, but you're not a philosophical naturalist, and you don't believe the two are linked. So he's essentially saying the same thing, that there may be a reality out there which is the cause of everything, or it's active in the world, but it's not detectable by science. So that's what I understood he's saying, and I don't think you disagree with that.
No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. You've summed it up really well.
So that's all he was saying. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
So you both agree with each other.
No, okay.
Can we please have a disagreement? Because this is why
I'm not saying
I want to see you guys disagree.
Sorry, I'm not saying there's no supernatural. I'm just saying that until you can reliably test for it. Okay, but the first thing I wanted to say was on my channel, Ihsan1C,
I must admit I did use this opportunity to plug my channel. The The two of them then berated me for doing so on their live stream.
How many subscribers do you have? Can I just ask you?
33.
33. Okay. How many subscribers are on this channel?
I have no idea. Thousands, probably.
101,000.
So just discuss the topic.
No, Ehsan, you wait 1 second. You came onto this stream. We were having a conversation with you. We were perfectly happy to speak with you. Out of nowhere, you just started plugging your channel.
Because
right?
I'm doing reaction videos to your discussion.
No,
so
wait. One sec. And no, we were talking about something else. We were talking about the supernatural and naturalism. Everything went well. Then you came in and you started plugging your channel. You did the same thing in multiple streams.
Okay, just okay. Ahsan, let me ask you. Just First, I said to you in the beginning when you joined that I have a few questions for you. Right. So first, you need to allow me to ask you those few questions, which are basic questions like, do you believe in naturalism? It's a very basic yes or no questions, so we can move forward from that. Right. So we don't want to be talking about your channel, someone else's channel. In fact, let me ask you this: what good reason do I have personally to look at a reaction video of a channel that has 32 subscribers? Give me one good reason.
They then started points scoring as if my opinion was irrelevant because I have far fewer subscribers. I tried to explain that the number of subscribers doesn't matter as I have made reaction videos to their videos and that is what they should be discussing. To highlight how ridiculous this argument is, at the time of this podcast I had 33 subscribers. I make science videos which don't tend to attract a mass audience. Justin Bieber, on the other hand, is a singer and he has 71.2 million subscribers. So by their logic, whatever Justin Bieber has to say about evolution or any other topic is of more value than anything I have to say.
Okay, well, the number of subscribers isn't really relevant, but if you look at the actual arguments...
Give me a good reason.
I'm giving you one now. For a start...
Wait. The reason cannot be within the videos because I need a reason to consider looking at it first. I'm not asking for a reason for the content that it has. I'm asking for a reason for me to consider even looking at it. I don't know, you think I have free time or what, but if I did have free time, like 30 minutes on my day, what convincing reason would lead me to look at your channel?
Okay, well, because you have put plenty of false articles, you've made many false statements. I would actually say that I've watched the whole 2-hour thing and it's taking me a lot of time to rebut everything because every time you say something, I pause it and then have to do a rebuttal because you say so many wrong things. So if you
that's why you have a channel. If you have a chance to speak here today.
You would watch it, see what those objections are, and you could respond. You could put a comment on my.
No, how many? Do you know how many ihsans are there in the world? You think I'm free to look at everyone who has 20, 30, 40 subscribers, 100 subscribers?
Well, there's only one.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. If that's your definition of intellectual honesty,
there's only one
that is unachievable. I'm making a point, right? If your definition of intellectual honesty that you need to look at every small channel that negligence channel barely has any subscribers that speaks about you, if that's your definition of intellectual honesty, no one can fit that criteria. That's what I would just say, right? So, anyways, let's move on to something. Yeah, what do you want to say?
So look, I have a very simple statement I'm going to say, right? Darwinism as a theory, as it's taught in schools, universities, colleges, wherever we are in the world, it is something that has become a sacred cow. It's a cow that you cannot challenge, you cannot question, you cannot do these things. And Ehsan is part of the crew which wants to protect this sacred cow. And people like myself and Muhammad Ali, we want to kick that cow. Now, I just want to...
You can kick it just by providing scientific evidence.
Okay, well, 1 second. When I said that this is a sacred cow and is protected, right, from like academic criticism and this type of thing, I saw you shaking your head like this, right? Like literally,
it's utter nonsense.
No, okay, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. Okay, let me just tell you something I was researching recently because I like to use things I research, right? Have you heard of the Altenberg 16?
Altenberg 16? No, I've not heard of that.
The Altenberg 16 was a meeting of 16 evolutionary biologists in 2008 which proposed an extended evolutionary synthesis that was misrepresented by creationists and similar types to attack evolutionary biology. Nick Matzker from the National Center for Science Education stated that the meeting was to discuss the possibilities for an extended synthesis in evolutionary biology, which incorporates development, evolvability, complexity theory into the old modern synthesis of population genetics. But in the land of cranks and intelligent design creationists, the Altenburg 16 meeting has become the latest bit of evidence that evolution is a theory in crisis. Massimo Pigliucci, the American biologist, criticized intelligent design proponents for presenting this meeting as an almost conspiratorial, quasi-secret cabala brought to the light of day by the brave work of independent journalists and scholars bent on getting the truth out about evolution. Of course, nothing could be further from the actual truth.
Okay, have you heard of the third way of evolution?
This is a website which allows people to discuss evolution, especially evolution through methods other than natural selection. They specifically state that they are wrongly being referenced by proponents of intelligent design and creationism.
I've heard of these alternatives, yes, and I know that
Okay.
they are discussed, and there are these, they have evolutionary conferences and where people discuss alternatives
Okay.
and things at
Okay.
fringes. Yeah.
Okay. Are you aware that we have prestigious scientists who are atheists, who are secular, who do not believe in intelligent design, who do not believe in creationism, yet they talk about Darwinism like it is a propaganda? They actually criticize it. They complain about the academic restrictions upon themselves to criticize the theory, and they repeatedly talk about the fact that Darwin cannot be challenged within academia because of the restriction of the freedoms that they have academically to challenge Darwinism. Are you aware of these facts?
I'm aware of these conspiracy theories about people who say that they can't, but
So
See how
I'll give.
you see the
I'm
word
aware that-
manipulation? Do you see the word manipulation? Trying to
Yeah,
phrase
no,
it to be conspiracy
Okay,
theory.
okay,
You know,
okay.
the
No,
word
it's
Okay,
not.
no, no, wait, Muhammad,
Anyway, this
Muhammad,
doesn't
what we're
address
doing,
any of the errors in the video. So
no, but what I'm doing is I'm going to show that you want to create this impression, right? Because what you want to make it about me, but I'm going to show you that even if I didn't exist on this planet, there would be secular atheist academics who you are calling cranks or conspiracy theorists or whatever it is. And these people have serious concerns.
And why are they in the minority?
Oh, wait a minute. Is truth based upon majority? Was Darwin not in a minority?
So you see, but why are they in the minority now? Well, we've got all this evidence.
One second.
Okay.
No,
No, I'm just asking you. I'm not saying that.
Are you?
Of course,
No,
I'm not saying
wait,
that because
wait,
it's not
wait,
necessarily. I'm not saying it's necessarily a majority decision. Okay, but I'm just saying to you, why are they in the minority? Why don't you just answer that question?
Okay. Relax. Yeah. Them being in a minority does not give an ounce of credibility to Darwinism.
This is another example of dishonesty by Subboor. I asked him why the scientists are in the minority now. He chose not to answer that question, but pretended that I said that their opinion is irrelevant because they're in the minority. I was clear in this discussion that I did not say that their opinion is irrelevant because they are in the minority, and that I asked a question to him and not made a statement.
It does not give an ounce. And for me, hearing that from you simply means that you're trying to create this image. Oh, this is just a bunch of fringe cranks and, this type of thing. Just before you joined the live stream, right? Just before you joined the live stream, we were talking about Niles Eldridge and Stephen Jay Gould and these guys, punctuated equilibrium, gradualism not being in the fossil record, the fossil record showing stasis and punctuations. Is this a minority opinion in paleontology, or is this now a majority opinion that the fossil record doesn't show the type of gradualism that Darwin predicted?
Well, it shows punctuated equilibrium. I mean, that's the common, more accepted theory.
Ehsan, I asked you
at the time it was at the time it was new. So
okay, Ehsan, let me just say this. Yeah, you answered a question I didn't ask. So I'm going to ask you the question which you didn't ask, so that you actually answer the question I did ask you. And my question to you is, Darwin's prediction of the fossil record, which is supposed to be gradualistic, today, do the majority of paleontologists believe in that, or do they believe in punctuated equilibrium?
The majority believe in punctuated equilibrium
Thank
because
you.
we've got new evidence.
Okay, thank
so
you.
can we talk about the video that you did? Because there's
thank you.
quite a few things that are wrong.
Ehsan, I am here. I'm not going anywhere. We're going to deal with that. Okay. Now, what does that show you? That shows you that the previous statement that you made, which is that why are they in the minority, that statement's false.
No,
because
it's not a statement. Okay, you answer me. Why are they in the minority now?
Okay, wait. You just said that the paleontologists that believe in punctuated equilibrium, which goes against Darwin's initial idea of gradualism, are in the majority now.
Yeah, Darwin was just one person, but then who? Just listen to me. Okay.
Wait.
He lived in the 19th century. We've learned a lot since then. Okay.
Ehsan, you're
so just answer my question. Answer my question. Why are they in the minority now?
Okay.
I'm not, don't try and drag too many inferences. Just
can you not interrupt, please?
Okay. Look,
can you not
answer the question? Then I won't need to.
No, it's not your conditions, Ehsan. If he's speaking, you allow him to speak. And if you're speaking, he allow you to speak. Okay.
Ehsan, let me show you the contradiction. You said they are in the minority, and I got you to admit from your own mouth that when it comes to Darwin's gradualistic idea, the majority are now those who believe in punctuated equilibrium. So the minority has turned into the majority in terms of the fossil record. So your initial statement that why are these people who are critics of Darwinism in the minority, that statement is false, at least when it comes to paleontology, according to your own admission. Do you admit that?
Okay, firstly, it wasn't a statement, it was a question. I asked you, and you ignored it and turned it into a statement, but it was a question. But anyway, okay, here's the next question. If they want to, what they could do is they could provide evidence, and then people can accept the evidence. But anyway,
you have to realize something.
Are you going to answer the question?
No. So, Ehsan, I am going to make sure that you answer the question that I asked you, not answer a question I didn't ask you.
I answered your question.
No, you did not.
You did not. Statement, okay?
You did not. So
are you going to address the errors in your video? Let
me repeat it.
Okay,
you said
let him speak, please.
Okay. You said that the majority, why are they in a minority? These people are in a minority. That's your statement. I just showed you.
It's a question.
No, it was. What did you say? What was your
very aggressive
words?
Look, I don't want us to get very angry. Look,
question. I asked you, why do you think they are in the minority, and you refused to answer it and turned it round. So just tell me, why do you think they are in the minority?
Okay, Brother Subboor, let me just say one thing. Look, if you've listened to what Brother Subboor said, I believe he already explained why they are in the minority. If you sincerely listen to what he said and what he was saying, those people are saying, and the complaints that they had, by default, you'll understand why they are in the minority. But I don't think if you're listening to what he's saying to understand, not to argue.
This demonstrates the hypocrisy and double standards of these two. Subboor and the Muslim Lantern tried to imply that I said that the critics of evolution are irrelevant because they're in the minority. I did not say that. I asked Subboor to offer an explanation as to why they are in the minority. They stated that the opinions of evolution critics are not irrelevant because they're in the minority. Earlier on, they said that my opinion is irrelevant as I have far fewer YouTube subscribers, so there is clear double standards here.
You will understand why they are in the minority because he already gave you a reason.
Okay, so I've heard the suggestion that they are being persecuted or something like that, but they could still provide scientific evidence. And if they presented it and it was well founded, then all the other scientists would look into it. But what you have is because you spoke to Dennis Noble, who's a physiologist and is not an environmental, not an evolutionary biologist. Whereas you could have had a video from an evolutionary biologist.
Okay, so wait, Ehsan. Before we move on to Noble, and I'm more
Are you claiming Dennis Noble is not a biologist?
He's a physiologist.
Is he a biologist?
Which is a biologist.
Well, yeah, he's not an evolutionary biologist. Whereas if you could have showed a video from an evolutionary biologist like P.Z. Myers or Jerry Coyne.
Okay, so
the ones you like.
Okay, one second. One second. Did you know? And by the way, P.Z. Myers is an embryologist. Yeah. Did you know
Cool.
that? Did you know that Dennis Noble was actually the doctoral supervisor of Richard Dawkins for his thesis?
Well, that doesn't really matter whether he was or not, because he's
Well,
a physiologist.
It is because you're trying to you're trying to throw shade onto somebody who it was actually the doctoral supervisor of the person who I'm sure you respect, which is Richard Dawkins, right? So don't try and speak from that perspective. Secondly,
I respect Noble as a physiologist.
Okay. Secondly, Dennis Noble recently had a debate with Richard Dawkins on the selfish gene idea. So in terms of academic biologists having discussions, you can't try and take him away to be less significant than Richard Dawkins.
Well, he's not published or done as much work as Dawkins. Whereas if you look at somebody like, in terms of evolutionary biology, if you look at somebody like P.Z. Myers, evolutionary biology. Anyway, so look, go back to your video. You know, you talked about those fictional fossils, those made-up fossils.
Okay.
I've looked at every single one of your slides.
Look. Wait. This is not how it goes. Right?
I'm sharing my screen. 1 second.
Okay.
I want to share my screen. What I find, Ehsan, is that when we've cornered you, you want to run off to something else.
No, because you're talking about irrelevant things that aren't.
No, not quite. Not quite. Okay. So I just want to highlight here. This is the website Third Way of Evolution. Okay. So Ehsan here with 34 subscribers is throwing shade on Dennis Noble, right? Let's have a look at Dennis Noble here. Okay. So yeah, you should laugh because
okay, well,
that's
let me read about Noble.
No, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second.
We've got something to read here, so if
listen, Noble compared to you, like, come on, let's not even get started here. This is going to get embarrassing for you. Yeah. So Dennis Noble is from the Department of Physiology at the University of Oxford. Okay.
I made it clear that Dennis Noble is extensively published in physiology. My point was that there are better qualified people to speak when it comes to evolutionary biology. Jerry Coyne is a professor of biology specializing in evolution. He has looked at Noble's opinions on evolution and states that however famous Dennis Noble may be in physiology, he's a blundering tyro when it comes to evolutionary biology. P.Z. Myers has written that Noble is a disgraceful dingleberry and that he's nuts.
Physiologist,
physiology. Wait, 1 second. I'm sorry, brother Subboor. I need 1 second. Physiology, anatomy, and genetics. Was I quoting Dennis Noble in relation to genetics, or was I quoting Dennis Noble to the relation to the whole theory of evolution?
Yeah. You're quoting Noble with relates to evolution, but other
no. What did I quote him in relation to in my video?
You quoted him. I think he was talking about evolution in that video.
You think so? You don't know. I thought you stopped at every point when I was speaking, and you were refuting it.
Yes, and I showed you. I can show you here. So
okay, so I think you don't know what you're talking about, because I quoted Dennis Noble only at a very few minutes maximum on my stream, speaking about genetics, which is his field of knowledge.
I will link this article in the description, which explains how Noble, who is a famous physiologist, has many misunderstandings about genetics.
Now, do not come here and try to discredit someone. When I brought him as evidence for something that is his main field, which he is someone who is highly attested and respected within that field, right? So you're coming here, you're talking, I don't know, with all due respect, and I don't use this terminology, but you're waffling about some things which has no relationship with what I was talking about. I did not say Dennis Noble says evolutionary biology is wrong, therefore it is wrong. All I've done in that video is I brought him talking about random mutation. That is maximum of what I've done. Okay. I quoted him in a video. Excuse me, sorry, let me finish. I quoted him in a video which he was talking about random mutation and genetics. So you to come here to try to make it as if I said, okay, evolution is false, therefore Dennis Noble said, therefore evolution is false, is a straw man argument that I did not make. But I will let Brother Subboor finish reading. Go ahead.
Look, firstly, you said he's hardly published. Okay, that's your words. Okay.
No. I said he's not in.
Yeah. He was
I'm sure he's widely published in physiology.
No. Listen. Okay.
I said he's not published in physiology.
Look, you don't understand the basics, right? So let me just explain.
You don't know how to read a paper. I found that out from doing your video.
You don't, because you are throwing shade on Dennis Noble.
I'm sorry, Brother Subboor, but I have to kick him out because he's disrespecting you.
I was kicked out at this point for being disrespectful. Those of you who watched my previous encounter with Subboor will be aware of how much more argumentative these discussions can be. I was much more polite in this discussion, and the disrespect towards me from these two was much greater than from me to them. I told Subboor that he doesn't know how to read a paper, after he told me that I don't understand the basics. In reality, they didn't want to deal with the errors I found in their video.
For no reason.
Okay. But anyway,
And
so
continue
but
reading.
Muhammad,
Continue reading.
but Muhammad, I wanted you to know something.
Yeah.
You said it in a beautiful way, but for the very first time, I'm gonna, inshallah, crack open your mind to a new reality. You said something profound, but I'm gonna crack open your mind to a new reality because I only discovered this like not too long ago. Okay, so you said that you quoted Dennis Noble when it comes to physiology, or when it comes to evolution or something. You didn't use him when it comes to genetics or something like this. What did you
It's
say?
the
You said
opposite.
something.
The opposite. I used them for genetics. I used them for genetics when he was talking
Yeah.
about the random mutation. I did not
Yeah.
use them for the whole idea of the theory and every
Okay.
article and everything, basically.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
that's
But
what I
check
said.
this out. So, firstly, he was saying, look, this guy's not published. And so he's written over 350 articles in academic journals, including Nature, Science, PNAS, Journal of Physiology. However, now let me just explain the background here, which I think is super important. So, the debate that happened between Richard Dawkins and Dennis Noble, and according to Ehsan, Dennis Noble is whatever. Yeah, whatever. Who's this guy? Who is this guy? Okay. Why would Richard Dawkins have a debate with him just, I think, 2 months ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are academic peers on the minimum, and most likely Dennis Noble is far above him. Now,
Of course.
let me explain something very important about this discussion that they have, and I'm just going to share my screen so we can see it as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
You see, Dennis Noble doesn't believe in reductivism. He doesn't believe in the reductive account of genes building up to organisms and everything going down this pathway, which is known as the central dogma.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Noble is somebody who believes in top down and bottom up.
The error in Noble's thinking is displayed in this article, which I have linked in the description.
So you see, people like Ehsan, they do not know what's going on in evolutionary biology right now. In evolutionary biology right now, people in the past, what they used to do was they used to give geneticists more credibility than physiologists because they believed in reductivism. They believed that genes are the most important things and human beings are replicators and we are vehicles for genes. Dennis Noble came along with his book, The Music of Life and Dancing to the Tune of Life, and he challenged that view, and he basically said, we do not believe in the reductive account of genes going up to organisms. He actually said the organisms affect the genes in a top-down approach. So
Okay.
what Ehsan is basically saying is the views of physiologists are irrelevant, and Dennis Noble's mission has been to tell people like Richard Dawkins and then their subordinates like Ehsan that physiology affects evolution because physiology is an active ingredient and a bottom down process. And what Ehsan is basically saying is that no, Dennis Noble's irrelevant. And Dennis Noble is not irrelevant because he is somebody who is considered one of the top evolutionary thinkers in this country. Now, the third way of evolution, which, by the way, he kept saying peer reviewed and all of this. I just wanted everybody to see this because this is super important.
You know, I looked him up, by the way, before I talked about him in my presentation. He thinks I just brought a name and I put it there or something.
Yeah.
Allah understand.
So
Go ahead. If you have the number of citations and all of that, yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to highlight something, guys, which is super important. Okay. So when we go to someone like we go into people. Now he was saying, why don't these people publish? Okay. Now here we have James Shapiro, and James Shapiro is an agnostic. He came up with the theory of natural genetic engineering. And if you go to actually his profile, this is somebody who has been publishing papers. So if you can see on my screen, all I'm doing is I'm scrolling through his just a few things that he's been involved in. For a complete list of his publications, you would click here. This is the Chicago University website. And what do we find here? Published, peer-reviewed articles. These are all
Yeah,
peer-reviewed articles. Say we click on one of them. One of them is microbiology. Okay, you go to Google, you put in microbiology, you come up with a paper. So you see people like um uh uh 30 34 subscriber YouTube channel Ehsan. He is constantly throwing out these allegations. These people are not peer reviewed, they're minority, they're this. But every single time you look into it, you discover he's a liar. And what I want everybody to notice is this: if we make a mistake, we're happy to say, I've even made a video where I said I made a mistake. Would
absolutely.
Ehsan admit to the fact that he threw shade on Dennis Noble? Would he admit to the fact that he basically lied when he said peer review and all these types of things?
I did not lie about Dennis Noble. I accept his expertise in physiology and that he is widely published in physiology, but that evolutionary biologists strongly criticized his opinions on evolution.
So the difference between us and them is that we're trustworthy.
For a demonstration of how untrustworthy these two are, please watch my 4 videos responding to their 1 video on evolution.
And
You
someone
see
like him
this
is
one,
not
yeah?
trustworthy.
Now, this is what the Department of Physiology and Anatomy in Oxford, which he is working in. Look, no, let's read from here. Dennis Noble has published what? More than 600 papers, 11 books. 5 of his publications have been more than 1,000 citations. Over 70 has more than 100 citations. Okay, so you get someone who says to you, "This person is not published. This person is not cited. Is not published." I don't think they've done a basic Google search on the individual, anyways,
No.
to speak about what he's done, what he's not done. So and the ridiculous thing is, he tries to come and says he's not this, he's not that. I did it as if the whole presentation was based on Dennis Noble.
But the thing is, Dennis Noble is the number one opponent of Richard Dawkins right now. And I just want everybody to look at this video. This video is approximately a month old. Okay. This video is making shockwaves across the biological community.
If you
This
go
is,
back to so we can see the title of the video. Is the title of the video
yeah,
for the
yeah.
people?
So the
Yeah,
title
Richard
of,
Dawkins.
yeah, Richard Dawkins' longtime rival Dennis Noble go head to head on the selfish team. Okay.
He's even called the long time rival, you know.
Yeah. So why did this little minion, this we call them coconuts, yeah, people with this type of disposition, why would he automatically start attacking Dennis Noble? Do you know Dennis Noble is not a Muslim or a Christian? He's not even a theist. He's,
Absolutely.
if anything, an agnostic.
Absolutely.
The whole problem is, and this is what I want you to, Muhammad, to realize, yeah? The real problem he has is not with your presentation. It's the real problem is he doesn't want anyone to believe that this theory is questionable. So how he does it is by saying, you did this presentation and you lied and you did this and you did that. All you need to prove to him is there's a white guy who you love white people, is a white guy who's an atheist who doesn't believe in your theory. That's all you need to do, because sorry to say, these people are coconuts. They
No,
cannot
absolutely,
accept
absolutely.
something that comes from brown people.
You know, yeah, I didn't want to give him that much time, anyways, because I did think he's not being very polite. Anyways, from the beginning of the discussion, he's not allowing conversation.
In summary, I called in to discuss the errors of the video, and they avoided this throughout the discussion. Thank you for watching this, and please let me know what you think in the comments section.